Hello, my Scrappy friends, and thank you for joining me for part 2 of my December documented mini album. So these are days 11 to 20. I'm really happy with the way this is progressing and coming together. I'm not going to lie. I'm super stoked with this collection I have purchased for this, which is the Cocoa Vanilla Christmas collection. I just love it. I do particularly love that it's not super winter themed, which kind of makes sense coming from an Australian designer. There are definitely a few sort of winter touches in it if you are from the Northern Hemisphere, but for those of us in the Southern Hemisphere that don't really have cold Christmases, I think it's working really perfectly. So I do love it. And I love this sort of simpler take that I'm taking on my December documented this year. No pressure for me, just get it done as I get it done. It's a lot quicker. This process is a lot quicker, which means I'm far more achievable with completing my December album in such a small amount of time, whereas some of the bigger ones, the more intricate, the more in-depth ones definitely have taken me a lot longer. And I love the look of those, like the past year's ones that I did. And I'm a little bit sad that this one doesn't have quite so many creative aspects to it. But I do just love how it's all coming together and how beautiful it looks with this collection. I have got to tell you that I am having an awful amount of trouble getting my numbers. I don't have any number ones left. I've got about two sets of thickers with number ones. So all of my teen numbers are basically going to be the same thicker style because they're the only number ones I can find, which is just mad. But anyway, moving on. As you can sort of see, even just by the second layout that I'm going through with you today, the general feel of all of these layouts are essentially the same. Quite a lot of photos because that's what I do, especially because, I can't decide between the ones of my cute boys. It's like 3 photos of the same thing. My journaling was already pre-prepared. That is definitely my hot tip for you. If you are someone like me who just does not have time in December or January to do their actual mini album, but doesn't mind the sort of computer work, I suppose, side of it, I would highly recommend doing that in December. So in December, early January, no, it wasn't in December. It was definitely in January, early February. Once all of December was through and I physically had all of my December photos, I sorted them all out, narrowed them all down, worked out which 30 sort of sets I wanted to use, 30 events, wrote up on my journaling for each 30, printed all of that out. So I have had sitting on a pack on my shelf for 6 months, the journaling all printed out, the photos all printed out, my collection and my album all organized and ready to go, because now that it's come to this in July, when I've actually got a few spare minutes to work on it, I have had time to get it all done, and it was so simple because everything was there, and I wasn't trying to remember why I thought that photo was cute or why I really wanted to include that. So that's definitely my hot tip, just to make the process easier 6 months later. What else have I done this year that's a little bit different? For me, it's more like December stories this year or December documented this year as opposed to a December daily concept. I think my very first year I did do December daily because Jack was a little baby. I was not working at all. And I did something with Jack nearly every day, even if it was as simple as going to our local shopping centre and having a look at all of the amazing things that were there. Back when Jack was in December for his first year, which was 2016, they put on free shows at our local shopping centre because we live closest to the largest shopping centre in all of Australia actually, but definitely in Victoria. And they put on shows, like Christmas shows. So we would just walk down. It was so close for us. It was less than a K, and watch a few shows and take photos of that. So I think I did do something Christmas related with him every single day. So my first year in 2016 of doing December documented, it literally was a December daily. Fast forward now to December 2020, and I work. I have 2 busy children and a busy life, so I'm certainly not doing something Christmas related every single day. But it is quite easy to have 30 Christmas related things for me, 30 Christmas related things that I've done throughout December. So that's absolutely what I've done this year. They are 30 Christmas stories. And you'll notice as we keep going through, I get to Christmas Eve and it's about number 20, I think. So it certainly does not correspond with the dates. It's actually just 30 Christmas things. And you know what? I don't even need to number them. And I think that might be what happens next year. I might not even number them because does it really matter if I have 30 or if I have 29 or if I have 42? Does it really matter? No. It is all just about the stories that have occurred throughout December. For me personally, this is my favorite holiday of the year. I love December. I love Christmas. So I love documenting this as a special, specific thing. I just take so many photos around this time of year that I could not fit them into my standard weekly Project Life album. So that is why for me, I have this specific December-based album. Will I keep doing this forever? No. Unlikely. I'm going to get swirly teenagers who won't let me take photos every 5 seconds of them. And I'm okay with that. But for now, while this is so super special, while the actual complete and utter Christmas joy is still with them every day of December, I am all for it. Later on, as they get older and it becomes more relaxed and Christmas is more about sort of maybe the week leading up to Christmas or the traditional special events of setting up the Christmas tree and things like that, they will fit back into my family album and they can have their own sort of 12 by 12 layouts as they go. That's sort of my long-term plan with this. It's also not sustainable to do mini albums for the rest of, my kids' lives. Already I've got from 2016, 5 mini albums up on my shelf. So, things are going to change. But at the moment, I really love it and I really enjoy it. And I find I have tons of photos to use for it. I absolutely know that there are other people that watch my videos that might think it's wonderful. Oh, yay, I love it. It's beautiful. But I couldn't possibly come up with 30 photos to use for a December album. And that's okay. These ideas and inspiration that you're seeing here, yes, it's a Christmas album, but you might go on a holiday for a fortnight and have 30 pages worth of holiday snaps that you could be doing. So just a way to show some inspiration. I personally love these pages the best. I am doing them at about every 5. So I think I did number 1, like the opening page, like my front cover, then day 5, 10, 15, and 20, I believe, is what I've done so far. So I will keep sort of continuing that. I love it because I feel like it breaks up the album and gives it a little bit of something special to look at, not just another pocket page that's the same as all the others. And then I also love it, and you'll see this a bit further in, because it also gives you that chance to do something a little bit more interactive. I'm not a massive fan of doing interactive elements like flip or anything like that if you don't have the specific flip pockets for Project Life, or not Project Life, but for Pocket Page. I know that you can buy like waterfall pocket inserts, which is awesome. But if you don't have those or can't make them yourself with your fuse tool or whatever, I personally don't love that inside a pocket page, because you literally have to take it out of the page to be able to interact with it and flip it. And that's not my tea. But I do love having these off the page type pages, page, within your album, where I can put in those sort of bend and flip elements without it causing any drama, because this was going to be an off the page one anyway. And I love the way that looks in your album, just sort of breaking it up a little bit and giving it a little bit of something special and something a little bit different. So that's my thoughts on that. This page in particular, I absolutely adore. I specifically made this a sort of full page. This is almost like my full layouts as opposed to just my little pockets, because of Jack's amazing reindeer face paint. This is literally the first time he's ever allowed anyone to paint his entire face. He went to daycare and he came back home like this, and I was like, oh my goodness, you had your face painted without me, because he's always only ever done his arm and he's just never done his face before. So that was so cool. Now this here is my first element that is sort of a fold out, add more photos element. So you can see there it's got a little flip. I literally used a 12 by 12 for this. There's no specific joins in that stripe paper, and I used a 12 by 12 as well because it's double-sided. In this collection, the smaller pieces of paper, the A5 pieces of paper, are not double-sided. They are white on the back. This one is double-sided, so I am able to only use one piece, and it's got, I don't have to piece it together. It's got that beautiful floral on the other side that you can see right there. Now, this is documenting our little elf's visit, so I've also got another additional flip inside because I wanted to show sort of the multiple angles of two of our visits from our elf Dash. So I'm just sticking on the first two. These are in no particular order of the days that Dash came. Dash does not come every day for us. He only arrives for like the last 5 or 6 days of December. And so this one here that I just stuck on, it's a little flip up that I simply just adhered 2 bits of that sort of creamy coloured waterfall background. I just adhered that together. You would not need to do that. You could just take one extra long strip that's long enough for both your photos and fold it in half. Super simple. You don't need to do anything fancy. I didn't have a long piece, so I just glued 2 shorter pieces together. Like it is absolutely not a rocket science way of creating a flip. I just really wanted to include every single photo and couldn't possibly choose what not to include. So just laying this all out. I do sometimes have the problem where my journaling, like it's hard enough to read on that floral paper. It's not too bad in real life, I promise, but it doesn't need more distraction. So I don't want it too much on top of those embellishments because that's just making it even worse. So I will move the embellishment cluster down a little bit and try and get my my journaling as much as possible just onto that floral, just because I think that it's hard enough to read and to process. Anyone that's playing along at home, my ATG there, I put in a brand new roll at the start of this album. So I've done 20 pages. Well, actually, it runs out before the end of this video. So I make it to page 19, but I also do the cover page. So I do make it to page 20. And I think that's all I've done with it. Maybe one 12 by 12 layout. So I think that's pretty good, personally, of considering how much I've used it. I'm absolutely using more tape than I normally would. Like when I am adhering, like when I adhered that full pattern paper to the white background, I ran the ATG 4 times down along that. If I was using just handmade double-sided tape, I probably would have only done it twice because A, I'm lazy, and B, double-sided tape is more expensive than the ATG. So I am definitely loving it. It is so much quicker and easier. So yeah, I'm a big fan. And I haven't found it too tricky. Having said that, I haven't changed the ring, like the tape runner for a second time yet. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So you can see the 2 flips there. The little tags, I actually just hand cut those out. So I traced them off other tags that I already have and hand cut them from like the advertising, the packaging, so that I didn't waste any paper because I'm a bit silly like that. This particular day, I'm sorry I didn't explain any of the other days. This particular day was so cute. The zoo had been closed for ages because of COVID, and we booked our tickets. When it reopened, we booked our tickets. You had to be super quick because limited numbers were allowed in and all those, pandemic things. That's all fine. So we went and we had an amazing time. It was so good. They had the dinosaurs there and yeah, it was awesome. And just as it was about time for us to leave, who should arrive but Santa? And I just loved the way they did it. They had a little hoop that we stood in and Santa stood out, just so that we didn't get too close, which was just amazing. And it worked so well for my boys because he wasn't scary because he was that little distance away, which was just super cool. So it was so fun being able to see him at the zoo. What a day. Loving the Project Life cards or the pocket page cards in this set. I don't often include ready-made pocket page cards. Katie often DIYs some pocket page cards, either like the numbers for our advent calendar, or sometimes she's even specifically made me pocket page cards as part of my advent calendar gift. So I will obviously use those, but I don't often buy like pocket page cards as part of a kit or part of a collection. I'm so pleased that I did this year because they are just stunning. So I'm loving that. This particular day, usually Christmas school, so my husband's a teacher, and usually school finishes up so close to Christmas that there is just no time to do anything as a family. Because, it's like the 22nd of December and then my mum and dad arrive and then all of a sudden it's Christmas. But this year, for some reason, I don't even know why, school finished not actually all that much early, but maybe because mum and dad were a bit late coming, or I don't know. But for whatever reason, we had time as a family to go into the city, which was amazing, and have a look at the Maya Christmas windows. Now, the Maya Christmas windows are a thing here in Australia. They have been going on, I'm sure they're elsewhere too, but they've been going on for years and years and years and years and years. And this year they were not going to happen. They had been cancelled. We couldn't have large crowds gathering to look at the windows. People were, only leaving the house for essentials and things like that. But then just before Christmas, we were able to lift some of the restrictions, and they quickly pulled together these Maya Christmas windows. And basically what they did was they pulled old characters and all of the the puppets and the features out of storage and combined them all together to make this amazing story about Christmas being uncancelled and Melbourne all coming together to, save Christmas. And it was a really nice message, and I think it was just what we needed there at Christmas time. But yeah, anyway, what else? Oh, so this is what I was talking about earlier. So this is Christmas Eve at our house. We are having our Christmas Eve dinner. So our whole family is there, just our immediate family. So just Katie, mum and dad, Katie's partner and his mum, and that's just us, our immediate family for Christmas. And this is I think this is number 19 or number 20. So I've absolutely not done these, this is in order, but this is, if you're doing it December daily, you should technically have this down as December 24th. But then, of course, coming up in the next video in part 3, I'm going to have the Christmas morning, and I'm going to have putting out the cookies and the carrots and on Christmas Eve, and that would also need to be number 24. So it doesn't really work like that for me anymore. So that's why I just do it as stories, and it's just 20 or 21, 29, 30, whatever many you want to do. I do the entirety of December. So I do 31 things throughout all of December. And this as well has a little flip up, and I've just written the words, got the sticker that says Christmas Eve on there. And just again, so I can get a few more photos onto the page. So this is a 5-page layout on a 6x8 piece of card. And the photos are 3x4 size. So it's just not possible without having that sort of flip up element, which I just love. And as I said, because this is an off the page kind of layout, you can do that flip up because it's not going inside a pocket. For any of you that are playing along at home and wondering how I'm figuring out all of that journaling, I wrote numbers on the back. So they're all numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so that when I come to stick them down, I know the order to stick them in. I do read them as I stick just in case I make a mistake. But in general, they're all perfect, and I haven't lost any. It's all organised. The next set of dates, the number 21 to 31. I don't have those cut out yet. They're in big slabs, so I'll cut them out before I do my video recording for you, because you do not need to see me cutting out my journaling into tiny strips. But yeah, so that I don't like keep them for all 6 months in little tiny strips. They're all still on their full page. I cut them up as I'm ready to create the layouts. So yeah, this is December 24th, but yeah, we're on the up to date or story number 19. And then we've got one more to go, and this is when I'm going to run out of ATG tape. So I'm not using my ATG anymore because she is empty, and I couldn't be bothered refilling it with 1 day left to go. I'm just going to use my normal double-sided tape, and I'll fill her up a little bit later. I love this story. So this story is the playing with the toys. So obviously we don't have all our toys yet. It hasn't been Christmas. Santa hasn't come. But we have absolutely got some toys off our family last night or yesterday. And this is the story of, actually it was probably earlier today. Anyway, irrelevant. This is the story of Jack having a bit of a play. Auntie Katie bought him the amazing Lego that's on the top photo. It's at the front, I think. The Iron Man Lego. And it was so tricky. Dad and I, as in Grandpa, Dad and I spent ages getting that built for him. And then he had to play with it quite gently because it fell apart a little bit. But he absolutely loved it. And I reckon if we tried to get him to do it again now, he could probably 1 whole year on, almost 6 whole months on, almost do it himself now. Gosh, they get so quick at being able to do Lego. They're so clever, these kids. But yeah, so this one is almost done. So I will give you a super quick flick through at the end, but I'm not being super careful. So I do apologize that there will be glare from the plastic packaging, like the plastic pockets that they're inside of. If it literally is a 3 seconds flick through, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you wait for part 4, so I've got part 3 coming this time next week, and then part 4 the week after that, I'll make sure I have a proper flip through for you then of the whole entire album, and I will be conscious of the glare for you as well, just so we can get that, so you can get the look of how the entire album looks all together, but actually see it without having glary pockets everywhere, because there's nothing worse. So that little joy card that I'm using there, it's actually fussy cut off one of the pattern papers just because it's cute, and I thought that would be a nice little bit of fun. I'm trying to use, so you notice how I put that star paper, like that little strip of star paper on the left-hand side. I'm trying to use all the little bits and bobs because I know I won't get something like that onto a 12 by 12 layout, and once this album is finished, I will only be using this collection for a 12 by 12 layout after this, or layouts, multiple, after this. So I really want to get the ones that are sort of that perfect size for these layouts on and being used. So here is my super quick little flick through. I cannot wait to show you the part 3 with my next 10 pages next week. I hope to see you all then, and have a lovely, lovely scrappy week, everyone. Bye.